on, everybody? Hey, we back for another week, man. I'm again very excited. Just continue this thing going. Hit another milestone this week. We're at episode 60, 60, man. I'm truly happy about it, and I'm just glad that we can continue on this dialogue and this conversation. Uh, really look forward to tonight because tonight I think tonight is going to be really be a good conversation and something that I think going to be able to relate to a lot of people. So, hey, come on in, tune in. Let me know where you're tuning in from, uh, and share this with some people. Doing my regular, what I do on the weekly. Jump on here, make sure I share this with some people, get it out there, and jump on in. Let me know. And I know, hey, it's Saturday. We got football going on, a lot of games going on. But we're just gonna keep staying committed to this, committed to doing this. And hey, I'm excited again just for being able to continue to do this and just have these conversations because you know what? It's not that's really, I think, the key to a lot of things in life is just getting into an understanding through conversations. And with everything that's going on right now, we've created this environment, especially in America right now, that everybody feel like just because we may have a difference of opinion, you got to debate. Nah, that's not what it is. I'm just talking about sitting down, having a conversation. So sharing this a little bit longer, and then we're just gonna get this thing on the road. But again, I thank everybody. Thank those that continue to support on a weekly basis. I don't take that lightly. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Means more than what you can think. And I appreciate the continued support that we have with people just all throughout, people all over, man. People that are, people tuning in from. Some people tune in from overseas. People tune in from throughout the United States, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the opportunity just to talk and to share. Because guess what? Sharing is caring. That's what you say in school. Sharing is caring. We give a shout out to Recipe Joe Cornelius. Joe, what's going on, my brother? He's saying hello, and man, we're gonna jump on into tonight. I want to share this, do this one more share, and then we'll be on the way. Be on the way with tonight, man. Jumping back in this thing. Want to give a shout out to my high school, Greensboro, the Raiders. Winning their homecoming last night. Very proud of them. Very proud of all of the football players and the team and all the volunteers that surrounding that. Big shout out to all the parents that supporting. Want to give a shout out to the band director down there for resurrecting the band program. So being somebody who spent years marching in the band and supporting the band, it does my heart well to see that. I would tell you, let's get back into it, to arts. Let's get our kids back into it. Let's get behind it. Let's get that thing going, because I'm telling you, participating in the arts was very great for me. But with all that being said, we're going to jump right into the night. Again, Cornelius Joe said, hey, man, it's good to hear from you, my brother. Good to hear from you. Very proud of you and the things that you're doing, man. We didn't think about it a lot growing up in the same church. Just, that we're going to get older, have families of our own. And it's just great to see people that I was connected to as a young man, as a young child, doing their thing, taking care of their family, raising their families, being there with their families, and being men of integrity. And I want to salute you, my brother. Just want to go ahead on and jump right on in. I'm excited. Coming up close to my birthday. Yeah, man, I'm about to be 21 for the second time, so I'm excited about that. But hey, and just a lot of things going on with me personally. I'm excited about life and excited about navigating through life, because guess what? Life is what it is. Life don't stop, and it's all about how you deal with it. But I want to get into the topic tonight. I was thinking about what we're going to talk about again this weekend. I want to talk about neglect, because neglect is a topic. Like I said, neglect, the thing we've all experienced on both sides, intentionally or not, but we rarely talk about it. I say that again. Neglect is a thing that we all experience on both sides, even if it was intentional or not intentional. So that's something that I really wanted to talk about tonight, because I felt like it's necessary. Because contrary to what a lot of people believe, people going through some stuff, man. People are going through some things, and it is necessary to share things and have conversations about things so people won't feel isolated and feel like they're the only ones that's dealing with something. Because I know that when we go through things, the isolation is what really gets us. And that's something that I really wanted to talk about tonight with neglect, because we've all dealt with neglect. We all dealt with neglect on different levels. We've all have either been the victims, received being neglected, or we've been in a position that we have neglected others. And a lot of times, neglect in of itself don't really comes from you feeling like you doing things intentionally. Now, before I want to give a shout out to Dwayne Lewis and Madrita Harris, Mr. and Mrs. Dwayne Lewis. They got married today, so shout out to you guys. Shout out to the Lewis and Harris family. Very glad. Been seeing some pictures and stuff, so very proud again, man. Dwayne doing this thing. Shout out to class of '96, Greensboro doing their thing. But 9-8 we still represent. I just wanted to get that out, but I want to jump right back into it with neglect, because the thing about neglect is we all have dealt with it. We all have either neglected somebody, someone, something, or organization, a person, and we all receive neglect. And the thing about neglect is we've all felt the impact of it, but you rarely see people really being open and honest and addressing it. And I felt that it was very necessary to address this tonight, because neglect is something that impacts us all on a very, very intimate and deep level. Intimate and deep level. Neglect has the potential, when you don't deal with it and you don't process it, it has the potential to change a lot of things it has the potential to change the trajectory of who you are as far as with your character. Because of neglect, we can, and you see it a lot. Like you can watch, I don't know if y'all watch on Facebook or social media, they have Dodo. And it's like a channel where they be showing they be rescuing dogs and all type of animals, right? And you can see when they go to rescue certain dogs, you can see they're very timid, they're very scared, because they conditioned mentally, they were conditioned to be in survival mode based off of neglect that they received, especially those that was in the care of an owner and just had to really mentally put themselves just to survive in that environment of neglect. And over time and over the care of those people that's going in and rescuing them, what happens is, you start to see the difference in the animal. And they average about 3 to 5 minute videos, but you see the change in and the animal turns into a completely different animal than what it was when it first was rescued, because they were taken out. The impact of the neglect was eliminated because that void was being filled. And I say that because as I watch those videos, I think about how much people put into rescuing animals, but how we just throw each other to the side and how we neglect each other, and how neglect impacts us has a potential to impact us. Being neglected as a child has a potential to impact you throughout your life if you don't address it, if you don't identify it, and if you don't recognize the impact that it had on you. And a lot of times this is what happens. And I say this because when you're dealing with neglect, and you don't address it, what it does is it manifests itself through expecting somebody else to compensate for what you were neglected for. And I'll say that again, as you grow, when you don't deal with it, subconsciously, it has the potential to manifest itself with you expecting others to fill the void that was caused by the neglect. And I know, and I'm not trying to get deep. I'm just telling you what it is. And I'm speaking from experience, that being neglected as a child, and not saying that neglect was intentional, but I've been open and honest about dealing with things with my father being a pastor and helping a lot of other people and doing all those things. I personally, as a kid, felt like my dad wasn't there for me the way that he should have been. In a lot of my younger years, he wasn't. And it wasn't from a malice place. He was fulfilling the call that he felt, that he knew that he had on his life, but he mismanaged a lot of the priorities. And that was just, we live and we learn. Some things we prioritize things. That's why I said a lot of times neglect either can be intentional or not, but we still can either feel the blunt of it or do that to others. And I really want to get into that and talk that dynamic. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead on and do it now. I was talking to a coworker, And one of the things we talked about and the lessons that he said he learned was, he realized, and he had one of his older sons had a conversation with him about him not being there. And I said, I shared with him something that stood out to me. I think it was 2001, if it's not mistaken. I try to look it up, but it's a movie called The Last Castle. And The Last Castle is starred, the lead character in there was Robert Redford. And everybody know who Robert Redford is, right? Hold on. Yeah, it was a 2001 film. It came out in 2001. I can remember watching it when it came out. And this movie, within movies, there's stories within movies, but watching this movie really stood out to me. And I'm glad that I watched it at the beginning because it helped shape my mind. And it was Robert Redford, the lead character, and James Gandolfini. And James Gandolfini, and everybody know who James Gandolfini. He's the guy who played Soprano on the show Soprano. So Robert Redford played this very well-respected lieutenant general, 3-star general in the Army, who made some decisions that led to some people getting killed, and he was held accountable for it and sentenced to prison to do some prison time at Leavenworth, Kansas, at the prison camp. And James Gandolfini played the role of the colonel, the warden of the prison, and he respected the general and all that, and all of that dynamic. And I seen how everybody was respectful of the general. But the thing that stood out to me was the general didn't have a relationship with his own daughter. And he was trying to establish a relationship with his grandson. And what stood out to me was he was very well respected all throughout the military, all throughout, nationwide with his achievements as a 3-star general, something to celebrate, but he didn't have a relationship with his daughter. And I made my mind up then. I said, I would never be that person. I never would want that for myself. And having a conversation with my coworker, I shared that story, and he was just saying how his son told him, his son, he was trying to get his son to join the military, and his son basically said, Dad, I don't want I don't want that. I don't want a military. If military calls me to miss birthdays, military calls me to miss games, calls me to miss all significant events of my kids, I don't want that for myself. And and he said that really opened his eyes, because he had his goals set on achieving and progressing and being ambitious to provide for his family. But because of that, even though it wasn't intentional, because he was chasing something, it caused neglect on the backside that impacted those that was close to him. Now, that's why I want to talk about it. That's why I said it either on both sides, because there are some things that are like blatant neglect, like deliberate neglect. But then there's other things that people that are what I call neglect that happens from it's not non-intentional, but it still has the same impact. I was impacted by non-intentional neglect that still had the same impact with me, which manifested itself with me having that void of my father not being there. And we can smile and act like it, but it does impact us as individuals, especially from an emotional space. That with me, my coping mechanism was through sexual promiscuity. So by being promiscuous, that was me trying to fill a void. In my mind, I was conditioning myself, I was trying to convince myself that it was something else, but it was all connected back to the root cause of it was the issue that I had with my father, with the neglect, with me not getting what I felt that I deserved from him. So that's why I wanted to talk about this, because these things go deep. And the reason why we don't really like talking about it is because we grow up and then we get in relationships and we get in all these different things, and we expect others to fill that void that is not their responsibility to fill. And that's why I was talking about healing is your responsibility. A lot of us are walking around wounded from neglect that we expecting other people to feel, because we are too afraid to face it and address it and to heal from it and to deal with it so that we can be healed, made whole, and move on. I like watching, I don't know if y'all like watching them, but those, I know it's crazy, but the people, it's called like the hoof man, they be shaving the hoofs from the cows and stuff like that. And cows be having like nails or stuff in their feet. And a lot of times what they have with is they'll have the horn, but inside they'll have what they call digital dermatitis. And they'll have where it's like it's a bacteria that get in there and start eating away at the horn, and it causes issues for the cows because they can't put their full weight on it. Now, horn, everybody know horn. The horn is just like fingernails, so that grows, but the conditions underneath may not be good. Why am I saying that? A lot of times they have to cut it all the way down to expose the areas. First of all, they have to cut all the way around the things that's covering up, because you can see the cows walking and the cows limping, but if you look at their foot, you like everything is good, but what the pain is really unseen and underneath. So the guy, the hoof, the people that does the hoof and repair the hoof, they have to cut it all the way down, and they cut all the way down until they get to where the issue is exposed. And once they get to where the issue is exposed, what they end up doing is they end up spraying some cleaner in there. And a lot of times what they do is they'll elevate the other side. So when they clean it and they wrap it with some acid, and that acid kills the bacteria and cause it to heal, they wrap it so that do that. So they elevate one side so the other side can be exposed so that it can get the proper attention, the proper cleaning, and the proper things placed on it to facilitate the healing. Now, if they don't do that, then the cow still will be walking around limping. The cow still can walk, but it still will be dealing with an issue that's unseen by others, but we can see the impact of it. That's why I'm talking about with neglect. A lot of us will walk around the same way, that we don't want to expose these things. We don't want to expose the real root cause of what is the issue with me? And then we get into these relationships. We grow up and we get married and we have kids, and we wondering why we always seem to be dysfunctional, because we choosing not to be exposed and deal with the issues of neglect. We just try to suppress it and act like it doesn't bother us, but it do. And what we want is other people to compensate for our unwillingness to address and deal with our own source of neglect. And that's a dangerous thing. It causes strains on relationship. It can destroy family. It has. That's why it's so it is so imperative that we do that. Recipe Joe Cornelius said, spiritual internal bleeding is a slow killer. And brother, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Because that is so true. And that's why, man, when I talk about this stuff, especially when we talk about neglect, a lot of times the thing neglect, this is what the bad symptoms of neglect is. We get to a point to where we become so numb to not so numb. When we consistently receive, feel that we're being disappointed, let down, or experiencing different forms of neglect, we condition ourselves to expect it so that we don't have to go through the feeling of disappointment, hurt, and letdown, or the feeling of betrayal from the people that consistently neglect us. So we condition ourselves to expect it. And what that does is it makes us get to a point to where when we start to be treated as if we should be, it's foreign, and we begin to fight against that or push it away because we have conditioned ourselves not to receive what we deserve. And I would tell you, neglect will make you lose sight of who you are. And I would say that, and I want to use this analogy. Neglect has the potential for making you lose sight for who you are. How you saying it? So, Shep, what you mean by that? What you mean by how neglect has a potential for making you lose sight of who you are? Imagine neglect being you standing in front of a mirror and somebody else is there with a black bucket of paint, the blackest paint that you can have. And every time they neglect you, they take that paintbrush and they paint down over, they do one swipe over the mirror. You still can see yourself, but you got to adjust to see how you see yourself. Then another form of neglect, and then they do it again and again and again and again and again and again, till the last little piece of mirror is there that you can see yourself is covered. And now you know you're standing in the mirror, but only thing you are seeing is the paint that was painted by somebody else, which represent the neglect that they gave to you, which in turn, now you can't even see yourself or even recognize yourself. Now it becomes hard for you to recognize your true value and your true worth or who you were before. And you have the potential of losing yourself in that neglect. And that's a dangerous place, because guess what? That's a place where we all feel defeated. And I'm telling you, I've been there before, where you lose yourself because you trying to protect yourself to have just enough to survive, to give to your kids, to give to yourself, just to get through the day, because you consistently have to deal with the impact and the pain of the neglect. That's why I said it doesn't matter. Neglect doesn't matter if it's intentional or if it's not. The impact is still the same. And the reason why we don't like talking about it, that's why I said we rarely talk about neglect, is because a lot of us aren't ready to deal with or address the source or the root cause of the neglect or the impact of it, because we suppress it. We suppress the fact that I got an issue of my father not being in my life, but I don't say nothing about it. And I just move on because, hey, I stopped expecting him to come, or my mom to be in my life. I stopped expecting her to be there. So I just moved on with my life and I'm good. No, you're not good. That bothers you. And I'm not telling you that you got to go have a one-on-one, but you need to address the fact that it does bother you and get you some counseling or talk to somebody and start processing that and realizing that, hey, you may have wanted this thing may have happened, but that doesn't mean that it's your fault. I'm thankful that as I got to the point of processing the root cause of my neglect, and that all started from me asking God when I had gave my life to Christ, and I was 21 years old, had just got married, taking care of a wife, and trying to be responsible. And I asked God why was I the way I was, and the Holy Spirit showed me a whole thing. It just started speaking to me about a lot of the issues and things I was just in denial on. Like, no, that ain't I'm good. No, it was real issues, things that I had to go back and address. And I was able to make amends and with my father, not from a position of, oh, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. It gave the Holy Spirit and God through his counsel with me, gave me an understanding of that I did not go without. I just didn't get it from the source I expected it from. And what that did for me was it let me know that I didn't go without. I just didn't get it from the source that I expected it from. And then some of the things I was expecting, I still wasn't going to get, because that just wasn't who my dad was. So I had to come to the realization of a lot of that. And then I was able to see my father recognize the fact that he made some mistakes. And when he had the second chance with my niece and my son and my other nephew, I saw a difference in his actions towards them, that it made my heart fill with joy, because he got a second chance and he righted his wrongs. And a lot of times you may not get that in your situations, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to project all of that stuff on other people, on your spouse, on your kids, all because you choose not to deal with something that is your issue and it's not other people's issues. And that's why I keep been talking on this show over and over about healing, and how healing is your responsibility. It may not have been your fault, but it's definitely your responsibility. Why? Why am I saying it is your responsibility? It is your responsibility because it's impacting you. If you get married and connect with somebody who's there to willingly help you walk through your healing, they still not responsible for you healing. And a lot of times we're expecting other people to compensate for things that's rooted into us not dealing with the issues that we have. And I hope somebody's really understanding what I mean by that, and why am I speaking on that? You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that is that happens all of the time. It happens all of the time. And I wanted to just really talk about that and bring that to light, Because, man, a lot of people are struggling with dealing with the symptoms or the impact that neglect has had on their life. And a lot of times we weren't neglected. We just like to use things as an excuse not to grow or take responsibility for our action. I'm going to say that again. A lot of times we weren't neglected. We just like to use things as an excuse so that we don't take ownership and responsibility for the decisions that we make in our lives. You know, like, and I'm saying this too. Yeah, things happen. And I know people have dealt with some things. We all dealt with some stuff. We all dealt with some stuff. I mean, some serious stuff. Serious stuff. And a lot of things people have had to suppress and push down because of things that they had to deal with. I understand that. I get that. But there are a lot of people who like to fabricate things or blow things out of proportion as if they were neglected, just to use that as an excuse because they don't want to deal with themselves. They don't want to deal with themselves. That's what it is. And that's a reality. That right there is a reality that is true. And I'm gonna tell you how you can recognize those people. They will always self-sabotage, and I talked about it a little bit. They will always self-sabotage the things that when things start going well for them, because when things start going well for them, it eliminates them using those things as an excuse because they're not willing to deal and address themselves. So I would tell you, and also the impact of you not dealing with neglect and how it can impact you in relationships. You expect other people to compensate for the fact that you are unwilling to address your issues. That causes it. That can cause a lot of frustration. That can cause a lot of hardship. That can cause a lot of strain, emotional strain, because you'll start to begin, and this is where the strain start coming in there. You will start to expect the other person to be the source of your happiness, but you will never be happy because you're never happy with yourself because you're not willing to address and deal with yourself. And that's the issue. That's how the strain happens. That's how it strains on relationship. That's how it strains on workplace and other things. And that's why you always tend to be considered a problem with other people, but you always make other people as if they are the ones that causing it. And it's really you. It's really you. I'll tell you why. Because it's not just one person that's saying the same thing. Multiple people have to deal with you on the same level, but you still stay the same, but it's everybody else. And it's time to just start taking ownership and start saying, you know what, it's time to deal with it. It's time for me to address those things that neglected me. One of the things you have to learn, and I talked about this and on my song, on my album, Finally Free. Again, another plug, is out on all social media. I mean, all on digital streaming platforms. Proverbs, The Conversation. Go check it out. It's on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, anything, all the digital streaming platforms. Go check it out. All right. But on my song, Finally Free, I talked about it. And Finally Free is kind of like comes from at the beginning of the year. I said that God had spoke to me about 4 words. He said he was going to renew, revive, restore, and reveal in 2020 for me. Renew, revive, restore, reveal. And what the thing that God has been doing, he has been doing all of those things for me. And the things that he has been revealing to me is it took me 41 years to get to the place to where I'm truly starting to understand my value. Now, it's a difference between understanding what you're worth. I always felt that I was worthy, but I didn't understand my value. And a lot of times, your value, you understanding your value is greatly hindered by you dealing with neglect. And it's a dangerous thing. So you had to get to that space, get to a place where you start to realize who you truly are. And you start to value yourself. Because guess what? Then now, one of the things that neglect loves to do, neglect loves to try to make you feel as if they have a say-so on your value. And I'm talking about the impact of it, not the act of neglect. I'm talking about the impact of it. Because we tie ourselves to these things, and when we don't get these things, we feel like we're less of. But no, you're not. You're valued. You're desired. You're wanted. You're more than. You're better than. You're so deserving. And I speak all of these things, and these things that I had to speak to myself and start to change how I thought about myself and get to the point to where, you know what? I'm not going to subject myself up no more to someone who's willingly would neglect being connected to me. I just say, you know what? I ain't got to sit there and cuss nobody out. I ain't got to go all off. I just take ownership of it, and I will begin to reciprocate the same energy. The same energy. I reciprocate the same energy. I don't have to give you at the same. I don't have to do the same thing you're doing, but I reciprocate the same energy. If I'm not a priority to you, then I'm not going to make you a priority. And it's not being petty. It's not being tit for tat. It's just I'm not going to make you a priority where you benefit from you being a priority with me. And I don't benefit from being a priority with you. I benefit from being an option. And that's just understanding my worth. And I got to that place. And what that does is that helps me start to be able to address some of those areas in my life that were impacted by neglect and really start talking about it. And really start being honest and open about it and not running from it. And stop running from it, because that's one of the biggest things. We run from it for so long. The impact of it. We know that it impacted us. We know that we got an issue of that. I feel less than because I feel my mama loved my siblings more than me, or I feel less than because of this, that, and the third. This impacted me because I didn't feel like I got this from this person. This impacted me because this person did this, that, and the third. This impacted me because they didn't do this or they didn't do that. And those are the things that I'm talking about that we go and we don't say nothing about, and it bothers us, it impacts us, and we grow up and we start connecting ourselves in relationships, and we expect everybody else around us to compensate for our unwillingness to address it. And we got to start doing that, because guess what? They weren't the ones getting hurt. It's just like me being shot and expecting you to go to the hospital to get treated for my wound. That logically do not make any sense. If I get shot, I need to go to the hospital because the wound is with me. The other person can be in the room. The other person can take me to the emergency room. The other person can make sure that I'm good. The other person can even pay for the insurance. The other person can be there the other person can be there in the waiting room. The other person can do all of these things. The other person can help me after I come out of surgery, after the bleeding is stopped, after I receive the traumatic treatment that I need. After I receive that, then the other person can assist in the healing process. But it's just like me being shot, being neglected and expecting somebody else to compensate for it. It's like perpetually walking around with an open gunshot wound, but expecting somebody else to heal, to get the treatment for you. And they can't. You have to make that decision. You have to make that decision for yourself. Other people can assist you on the journey, but you got to make the decision to choose to be healed. And listen, this is not saying that everything is on a catastrophic level. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about everything has to be on a catastrophic level. These things can impact us on our day-to-day dealing. Like, for real. Like, okay, some of us are dealing with the neglect of our daddy not being in our lives. And I'm gonna use this, and this just came to me. There's some women out there that deal with the reality of neglect for their dad not being in their lives. So in their relationship, they project what they see that their dad was or wasn't, and they project that on the person that they with, because they're gonna do everything in their power to try to stop themselves from experiencing that. But the person that they with is like, man, what in the heck going on? They're not your father. They didn't abandon you. They're there with you. So why are you projecting your fears of being abandoned by your dad on somebody that had nothing to do with it? It is not their responsibility to heal for you. They can assist you, but you have to choose to heal and address that. See, we don't like talking about those things. That's why I say we rarely talk about it. We rarely talk about those things because those things impact. They have impact on how we act. And then it leads to a lot of other stuff. It leads to we having attitudes all the time. We're just not pleasant to be around, all because we don't want to deal with our issues. We got to deal with it. We have to address it. We have to. It is so necessary to do that. I'm telling you, your quality of life, when you start dealing with the things that have caused impacted you with neglect, your quality of life will change exponentially. Excuse me. It will change. It will blossom. It will grow because all of your relationships will grow. You will stop doing certain things and you'll start to realize like, why? Like a lot of things we do, we just do it because we don't even realize that we're doing it because subconsciously we're trying to protect ourselves from the impact of the wounds that we had. The wounds of neglect. And we walk around like, oh, I'm just this tough person. Ain't nobody going to talk to me like this. Ain't nobody going to do that. No, you wounded. And you want other people to compensate for your wound. And they ain't got nothing to do with it. So that's why I'm talking about this, because neglect is something that we all dealt with. Now, I want to deal with the other side to that is when you neglecting people. Listen, neglect is always deliberate. It's a choice. Even if it's not intentional, it's still a choice. Now I said it again. Neglect is always deliberate. Even when it's not intentional, it is still deliberate because it is a choice. You're choosing, you have the idea to reach this certain position or this certain rank or this certain status on your job. So you put it all into that to meet all of these, what we call the gates and these checks to receive the marks and the ratings and everything that you need to get promoted and move on up and reach the high things. And what we like to do is we like to say, well, I'm doing that for my family. So that's why I'm working 100 hours a week, or that's why I'm working 8 hours a week. That's why I'm doing all this, that, and the third. That's why I'm prioritizing my job and my career over my family. But at the same time, you're making a decision to do that. So the impact of the neglect, regardless if you intended to do it, it still was deliberate because you made a decision to do it. And it all boils down to prioritization, where you prioritize, because if whatever something is a priority for you, you will make time for it. How are you going to elevate yourself, elevate the way that you think? And that's why a lot of times people are not happy. They're not happy with life. They're not happy with a lot of things, is because they expect everything else to compromise for them and their decisions. That's why. I mean, I'm being dead serious with you. That is why. That's why a lot of them are unhappy. They want to have things out of priority. They want their priorities to be out of whack, and they want everybody else around them to adjust to them so that they can continue to pursue their own selfish ambitions. And you wonder why you got a dysfunctional home. You wondering why you don't have a relationship with your kids. You wondering why you can't be happy. You wondering why that you achieve everything that you say you wanted to achieve, and you got money and you got this, that, and the third, but you're not happy. I'm telling you, it is so imperative that we start dealing with this thing, start dealing with neglect. Neglect is something, I'm telling you, neglect. We have all neglected somebody, and we have all been neglected. The key is what you're going to do to manage that. Manage that. And start being honest and open and honest with yourself. Start looking around and be like, okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is the priority? Stop being irritated at people who's supposed to be more of a priority, that demanding time for you but you giving it to other things and you want them to accept that like it's supposed to be that way. And after a while, I'm telling you, that's a dangerous thing. That's a dangerous thing to keep choosing your job, keep choosing your organization, keep choosing all these things over your family, over your spouses, over your kids, and you expecting them to be understanding. That dog ain't gonna hunt. It'll be that way for a little bit, but after a while, they'll see the truth. And I'll tell you, this speaking for somebody been in the military who's been deployed for 31 months, been separated from his family for 55 months. And that's not even counting the time I went to the field. But I wasn't the one volunteering to go to a deployment just so I can that deployment to look good to help me get promoted. I knew when I'm at home, I'm there with my kids. When I'm at home, I'm there at their functions. I'm not making an excuse for that. I'm not. There are certain demands on me. Certain times I couldn't be there, but the times that I could, I was there. Period. I didn't care about period. And you know, the funny thing, it still hadn't blocked me or anything for continuing to progress. You know, still hadn't blocked me at all. I want to get to some comments. Cornelius said earlier, he was like, wow. And then he was talking about, that's a great analogy. And I think he was talking about it when I said about getting shot. When you got shot, if I got shot, being neglected is like me getting shot, and being neglected and expecting somebody to heal you is like me getting shot, but you going into the hospital to get treated for me. Hey, Miss Hayes Neal, how you doing? How you doing? We got Miss Geraldine, the student is in. She's in. She checked in. Hey, Miss Weston said, and angry at those who refuse to participate in the dysfunction because they refuse to go to mental triage to address the wound. Man, I really like that, mental triage to address the wound. Listen, I would tell you, this is how you can spot those who are this is how you can spot those who aren't willing to deal with themselves and the root cause of the wound. They always play the role of the victim, and it's everybody else's fault when you start to get them to try to address their root cause, their issues. It's everybody else's fault. They will never take ownership of, yeah, it's me. I need to address that. And I would tell you, you know, they would, when the kids come and tell them, hey, dad, hey, mom, you know, why you weren't at my games? And a lot of times we don't get a chance to have any closure about it. Kids grow up and they hurt and they deal with this stuff, but they never get a chance to have a conversation with their parents and ask them why. And a lot of people deal with that. And man, that stuff eats at people. Then when their parents die and they never had that conversation, they never had that closure. But I would tell you, man, it's so imperative that you just start healing, man. You start saying, you know what, I'm going to take, I know I didn't get it. I know I desired it. Because I would tell you, man, dealing with desiring something from somebody that you should have gotten it from and you didn't get it, that is some serious pain, some serious silent pain that people have to deal with. And a lot of people are carrying around with them right now. And they say they good, but it's really, really bothering them deep down on the inside. And that's my prayer for them. That's my prayer, is that through conversations like this, that they can recognize that, hey, I need some help. Hey, I need some help. And this is, so when you're dealing with somebody who refused to address their issues and their wounds, they will always make you the source of their triggers. Now, watch this. If I'm triggered by something that happened to me, traumatic events that happened to me, you didn't cause them. So why am I reacting to you as if you caused them? A lot of them I ain't even know about. You know, if you don't communicate and let people know, hey, this is an issue or this is why, okay, there can be an issue, but why is that my issue? Think about it. Seriously. A lot of times, just because you're wounded, that don't give you a pass to stay wounded. I mean, let's just look at it. Let's just look at it. Just because you're wounded and you inform me that you're wounded, that doesn't give you a free pass to stay wounded. Think about it. If I get sick right now and I'm sick, and the doctor said I'm supposed to be down for 7 to 10 days, and I'm down 10 days, and I come back 2 years later, but I expect you to keep taking care of me and do all these things for me as if I was sick during them 7 and 10 days, you'd be like, fool, you need to get up. It ain't even going to get to that point. That's the same way that people do with them being wounded. They expect other people to do things for them, and they expect to always get a pass because they're not willing to address it. And the only thing they need to heal is to address it. So I would tell you, man, neglect is deliberate. Neglect is something that we all dealt with. We all deal with. I would tell you, if somebody come to you and you realize that you have neglected people in any way, I would tell you one of the best things you can do, not only for your healing, but for their healing, is go to them and make amends. Go to them and apologize. Go to them and have conversations. Go to them and say, I was in error. I was in error. This is what I was thinking. I felt that if I worked hard and I took those more hours, I could buy you more stuff for Christmas or this, that, and the third. But I didn't know that really you just wanted Daddy to be home and you can help me cook a meal, or we cook a meal together. Or you just wanted to sit down and just ride and just sit at the house with Daddy. See, those are the things that I'm talking about that we rarely talk about, the impact of it. And we walk around wounded our entire adult lives because we don't address issues. We don't address these things. We don't get clarity. We don't talk. And the biggest offenders of that are those people who love to run up in the church and shout, speak in tongues, and fall out on the floor. They don't talk about nothing. They don't have conversations with their kids. They just try to do all this thing and put it all on God. And then they don't deal with the impact of them neglecting their kids, them not being there, them choosing other things, them always being in church. You see what I'm saying? Those type of things that people are walking and dealing with now. And you got a lot of people who have walked away from the church because of the impact of the neglect that they received by their parents and people in the church. But nobody ever want to address it because we want to paint it like, oh, well, I was just serving God. No, boo-boo, your priority was in the wrong place because your family is your first ministry. But the reason why you spent all that time down at the church was because you was trying to feed your ego and lobby and get to a position to where you could, you know what I'm saying, you can elevate, you can be seen as this, you can be seen as this image you want to portray, instead of you being a reality for those who really need you. And now your kids are hurting. Your kids are walked away from the church. All because of that. I would tell you, it is therapeutic to address these things. It's therapeutic to acknowledge that, hey, yeah, I got some issues. Yeah, dang. Like really sit down and take inventory. Like, dang, how did that impact me? Like, seriously, how did that impact me? And a lot of us aren't willing to have that conversation because we don't want to take ownership of the roles we played in it too. And the roles we played in it is not a lot of times in the hurt, but we played in the role of perpetuating it for years because we refuse to deal with it. We refuse to address it. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but I really and that's something that I just been thinking about a lot, like how can we get to a place where, we are in a better mental space, especially with our relationships, or where we approach things from more of a logical space than just an emotional space. Because if you can consistently approach things from an emotional space, you're going to be dead wrong, but you always going to justify that you're right because of how you feel. So I would just, just to end for the night, man, I just wanted to say this, just take inventory. Start just asking yourself some questions. Cornelius Joe said, using the church as a narcotic to stop from dealing with home. I've seen that happen. I've had to help some people process that. Yes. And not only using the church, people use their jobs, the same thing. And a lot of times they don't want to deal with home because they don't want to deal with themselves. They don't want to deal with the role that they play into why the home is dysfunctional. Because in their mind, it's the other person. So I'm going to put all my energy into my job. I'm going to put all my energy into the church. I'm going to put all my energy into my fraternal or sorority, fraternal or organization. I'm going to put all my energy into my hobbies. I'm going to put all of my energy into everything external so I can come back with the lame excuse, I'm tired, and I want the people, the very people that supposed to get the best of me, to accept the excuses of giving them scraps. That's neglect. And it's all rooted in you don't want to address you. That's the type of neglect that so many people deal with on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis. Money Blue Wester said, when I'm triggered, I don't lash out and blame whoever is nearest. No, I pause the moment and I utilize and exercise the strategies I've been taught by experts to subside the trigger and inventory what caused the trigger. On what caused the trigger on and clean your mental space. Why are your office cubicle cleaner than your mental cubicle? That's because, watch this. My office cubicle is cleaner than my mental cubicle because my office is where I spend a lot of time and energy projecting what I want people to see me as. And my mental cubicle is not seen by others and not seen by those, but really those that are close to me. So I ain't really worried about them seeing me because they already know who I am. But I'm gonna invest all my time and energy to my office and to the church, to my job, to all these other places, so that they can be like, oh, well, they was a good person. But when it comes to them dealing with themselves, they don't want to deal with it because guess what? I want everybody else to compensate for me, my unwillingness to address my issues, to address the source of my neglect, or to address why I'm neglecting those. And I want them to just accept it and be like, it's okay. Cornelius said, Jesus worked on having balance in his life. His father, disciples, strangers, and sellers. Listen, the Bible says in Proverbs, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is to his delight. And when I read that, that scripture, I was like, dang, like balance. We got to have balance. We got to have, I'm telling you right now, if you so tired when you come home from work and you don't have the best of you left, you didn't preserve the best of you for your family, you dead wrong. Ain't no excuse with it. You are dead wrong. I'm not talking about having hard days at work. No, I'm talking about from a mental space. If your family, if those that close to you are not the number one priority for you, you are dead wrong. And you are choosing to neglect them. And don't expect them to accept the sad realities that they should just accept your leftovers when you're freely and willingly giving the best of you to people that don't matter. Because if you died on your job today, they'll throw up a hashtag, oh, we miss you, and through a Facebook post, and maybe throw on a t-shirt, but they hiring somebody else. The substitute going to be in there tomorrow. The person on your job, if you're in the military, you die, we'll do a memorial service with you. And I'm not saying you people ain't going to miss you, but I'm saying you dying ain't going to stop the army from keep going on. You dying on your job ain't going to stop you from driving that truck drop somebody else from driving that truck at FedEx or UPS or whatever else. And I want y'all to really start to understand that. But we got to prioritize the right thing. And a lot of neglect is rooted from you not having your priorities in the right place. Period. Like the girl, period, Pooh. Period. With a T on the end. It's rooted in you not having your priorities in the right place. So I tell you, man, that's something that, we have to start addressing and start dealing with. And I'm talking about on both sides, not just the side that you've been neglected. Let's start addressing the side that you are neglecting others. Go to them and say, hey, I was wrong, man. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, man, you don't know what that would do for others. But we so prideful. We know we've been neglecting folks. We know we have. We know we've been intentionally doing it. And then get mad when they approach us about it as if they are wrong. And we know for a fact what we've been doing. That's even more disrespectful than just the neglect. And a lot of people are carrying that womb and that weight of neglect and been carrying it for years and years and years. And I want to tell you, if you're watching this right now and you've been one of those people, I understand. I see you. I understand what you've been going through. You are valued. You are worthy. You are not what the neglect say that you are. You are deserving. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. You are smart. Like they said on the Help. You is smart. You is kind. You is important. You are all of those in a bag of chips. Don't settle for continuing to subject yourself to somebody who will willingly neglect and not value you for who you are. You ain't got to be mean, but cut them off. Cut them off. Don't give them access to you. Because guess, like I said before in my analogy, if you keep allowing people to take a paintbrush and paint over the mirror that's you reflecting and seeing yourself with neglect, if you're waiting for them to come back and wipe it off, they're not going to do it. 9 times out of 10, they won't do it. But guess what? You have the power to wipe it off and start to recognize yourself again. And guess what? And it's a good feeling. Recently went to that place and I'm starting to recognize Robert. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I see myself. I'm seeing myself. I'm seeing myself. Yeah, I like that. Hey, Shep, you know what, man? You've done some stuff, man. You accomplished some things. And you pretty creative dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, got it. If they don't appreciate me, ain't my problem. I'm gonna go be great. And me and my mom talk about every day. Every day I get up when I'm going into work, I go into work and I speak to my mom, tell my mom I'm going to tell her I love her. I said, Mom, I'm going to be great. She said, greatness leaving, the greatness walking out the door. And I would tell you that is just so motivational just to even, just to hear that. I'm about to be 42 years old and that motivates me every morning. Just hearing those words, and those are steps that I had to do for myself. I'm not just talking about this from a position of, I ain't had to deal with it or overcome. No, I'm talking about it from a position that I had to. So I just wanted to just say that, let everybody know, listen, you can overcome neglect. Speak life into yourself. Wake up every day. Tell yourself who you are. Also understand this. When you've been dealing with neglect, my prayer is that you pray to God to condition your heart to receive what you know you're worthy of. Because a lot of time neglect will have you looking at yourself from a devalued perspective. And you will accept things that are lower than what you should accept. And my prayer is that you see yourself for who you really are. And not only see yourself for who you really are, see yourself how God sees you. See yourself how others see you. Because you are admired. You are amazing. You're all that in a bag of chips. And I'm proud of you. And I believe in you. You guys have a great, great and wonderful weekend. One more weekend before my birthday. And guess what I'll be doing on my birthday? I'll be in the field, getting it in up here at Fort Drum like we do up in Mountain Country. Hey, you guys, so they say they're trying to overcome 20 West Atlanta traffic right now. Hey, that Atlanta traffic during this time too? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I intentionally wait to before or after. You guys have a great and wonderful weekend. I'm about to go and watch my Tide roll and love you all and see you guys next week if God's will. Thank you.